All right, I'll just dive straight into this because honestly, I still can't believe what I found out. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 8 years now. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we had a good thing going. She's always been a little cold, a little bitchy at times, but I figured that was just her personality. She's a designer, works a lot, and I've always believed that her success and ambition were part of what I loved about her. We had our moments, raised 2 kids, and I thought we were solid. Then came the signs. You know how sometimes little things start changing. She'd come home late, say she was working on a project, but I'd catch her sneaking her phone away when she thought I wasn't looking. She'd get overly defensive if I ever mentioned her phone or her whereabouts. One day, I noticed her jewelry box was different. It used to be just some regular jewelry, but suddenly, it was filled with these tiny envelopes, notes, and random jewelry pieces I'd never seen before. I wasn't thinking much of it at first, just thought maybe she bought some new stuff, or was hiding something small. But then I noticed her acting weird. She'd be extra bitchy, snapping at me over nothing, and there was this strange tension in the air. I'd ask her what was wrong, and she'd brush it off, say I was imagining things. I even caught her deleting messages on her phone once, which was a rare thing for her because she's not exactly tech-savvy but keeps her social media locked tight. It was like she knew she was hiding something, and that made me suspicious. One night, I decided to check her jewelry box when she was asleep. Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy now that I think about it, but I was desperate. I was just trying to figure out what was going on because I felt this gnawing feeling that something was off. Inside, I found a small envelope tucked behind her favorite necklace. I pulled it out, and my heart practically stopped. It was a letter, a handwritten letter from someone named Tom. I didn't recognize the handwriting, but what really hit me was the way it was signed. Can't wait to see you tonight. That's when everything hit me like a ton of bricks. My wife Lisa was cheating on me with my best friend, Tom, the guy I've known for years. I sat there, stunned, staring at this letter, trying to process what I was seeing. All those late nights, all those excuses she gave, her bitchy attitude, turns out she was sneaking off to see Tom probably more than once. The worst part, I had no idea until I found that stupid letter in her jewelry box. She was hiding a whole secret life from me, and I was just blind to it all. That's how it started, and honestly, I was furious, confused, hurt, and just numb all at once. So after I found that letter, I didn't just sit there and pretend I hadn't seen it. No way. I needed answers, and I needed them right then. I waited until she was in the shower the next morning, thinking about how I was going to confront her or what I was even going to say. My mind was racing. I felt like I was in some messed up movie, but unfortunately, this was real life. When she got out, I looked her dead in the eyes and just pulled the envelope out of my pocket. "Who is Tom?" I asked, my voice trembling a little because I was trying to keep my cool, but inside I was boiling with rage. She froze for a second, then smirked that bitchy smirk she always has when she thinks she's winning. "What are you talking about? That's just some stupid letter. You're overreacting," she said, brushing past me and grabbing her coffee. Yeah, right. She was trying to act like I was crazy, like I was making some big deal out of nothing. But I wasn't buying it. I confronted her again, more directly this time. I told her I knew about Tom, that I found the letter, and I wanted the truth. She rolled her eyes, laughed a little, and then said, "Oh, so now you're spying on me? Grow up, Mike. You're just paranoid. Maybe it's just some stupid joke or a misunderstanding." Her reaction was so dismissive, like she thought she could just lie her way out of it. But I wasn't stupid. I could see through her bullshit. The thing is, I known Lisa long enough to pick up on her lies and her bullshit. She's always been manipulative, good at twisting things around, making herself look innocent. But this was different. The way she avoided eye contact, the way she tried to downplay the letter, she knew I'd found her secret. And yet she kept denying it, saying I was imagining things, that Tom was just some guy she knew from work, that nothing was really happening. But her tone was defensive and her excuses sounded hollow. I could see the cracks in her story. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything, the late nights, the excuses, the little things I'd ignored. I was drowning in a mix of hurt, anger, and betrayal. I wanted to punch something, scream at her, but I held it all in. I knew I had to keep my composure because I needed to decide what to do next. Deep down, I knew I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. She was lying to my face, and that hurt worse than anything. This was the moment I realized I had to get to the bottom of it once and for all, no matter what it took. The days that followed were a roller coaster. I couldn't focus on anything else. Every time she left the house, I wondered if she was meeting Tom again or if she was just lying around somewhere scheming her next move. I started digging more, searching her phone, her social media, even her emails, anything that could give me more clues. That's when I found the messages. I already knew about Tom, but I wanted proof, something concrete that I could hold in my hand and show her. And I got it. I found dozens of texts and messages exchanged between Lisa and Tom, dirty talk, plans to meet up, even private jokes that I'd never seen before. It was clear they were involved, deeply involved. I read through everything, feeling my stomach turn. They talked about sex, about how much they wanted each other. It was sickening. It felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I'd trusted her. I thought we had a solid marriage, and here she was, sneaking around behind my back with my best friend. I decided I couldn't just confront her without everything in hand. I needed to catch her red-handed. I set up a hidden camera in the living room just in case she tried to sneak out again or bring Tom over. That night I watched her leave the house, get into her car, and drive off. I followed her, keeping a safe distance. She met Tom in a parking lot just a few miles from our house. They looked like a couple of teenagers sneaking around. I felt this mix of rage and devastation. How could she do this to me, to us? I couldn't just stand there and watch. I had to do something. I parked nearby, took pictures of them together, holding hands and laughing like it was no big deal. I recorded their conversation, which was mostly flirtatious, full of promises and promises broken. When she finally came back home, I was waiting. I didn't say a word for a while. I just sat there, staring at her, trying to process what I'd seen and heard. The look on her face when she saw me was priceless. She was trying to act innocent, but her eyes gave her away. They darted around, trying to find a way out. That night I finally exploded. I confronted her, told her everything I knew, showed her the pictures, the recordings, the messages. Her face twisted into this bitchy sneer as she lied again, saying I was crazy, that I was imagining things, that Tom was just a friend. She said she was sorry, that it meant nothing, that she didn't love him, just sex, but I could see she was lying. She was trying to manipulate her way out of it. I felt this deep, burning betrayal, like everything I believed in was a lie. My trust, my marriage, my best friend, gone just like that. After that confrontation, things got worse. Lisa's attitude switched from bitchy and dismissive to outright defensive and aggressive. She called me crazy, said I was stalking her, that I was ruining everything. But I wasn't backing down. I needed her to understand that I knew the truth and I wasn't going to pretend anymore. I told her I wanted her to leave, that I couldn't stay in a marriage where I was being played like a fool. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and threw a tantrum. "You're overreacting," she snapped. "It's just sex, Mike. It doesn't mean anything. Tom's just a friend, and honestly, I do even like him that much." Yeah, right. That was so hard to swallow because I had all the evidence in front of me. I'd seen the messages, the secret meetings, the way she'd look at him when she thought I wasn't watching. It wasn't just sex, it was an emotional affair, and she was trying to pretend it was nothing. The next couple of days, she kept insisting she was innocent, that I was jealous or paranoid. She'd say I was projecting my insecurities onto her. But I knew better now. I knew she'd been lying for a while, hiding her secret life. I felt betrayed, not just by her but by Tom too. How could my supposed best friend do this to me? How could Lisa, someone I loved and trusted, throw everything away for some guy? It was a blow I wasn't prepared for, and honestly, I felt like I was walking around in a fog. I started thinking about what to do next. I couldn't stay in this house knowing what she was capable of. I thought about leaving, about divorce, but part of me still hoped she'd come clean and admit everything. That maybe we could salvage what was left. But deep down, I knew it was over. The trust was shattered, and trying to rebuild it felt pointless. I felt angry, hurt, and mostly just exhausted. How do you move on from this kind of betrayal? How do you even breathe again when everything you believed in turned out to be a lie? That's where I was at, trying to figure out if I could ever forgive her or if I'd just have to accept that my marriage was done. The days after that were the hardest I've ever gone through. I felt like I was walking around in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I kept replaying everything, the moments I missed, the signs I ignored, the lies I believed. I was angry at her for cheating, furious at Tom for betraying me, and most of all, devastated that I had trusted her for so long. It cut deep. It made me question everything I thought I knew about loyalty, love, and friendship. Eventually, I made the decision to leave. Not because I wanted to ruin her life or because I was petty, but because I couldn't stand being in the same house with her anymore. I felt dirty, like I was carrying her betrayal on my back. I packed a bag, told her I was going to stay at a hotel for a few days to clear my head, and then I left. She tried to guilt-trip me, saying I was overreacting, that she loved me, that it was just a mistake. But I knew better. I'd seen what she'd done, and I couldn't pretend it was just a slip-up anymore. Being away from her, I started thinking about what I really wanted. I didn't want to be with someone who lied and cheated. I deserved better. I decided I was going to divorce her no matter how much it hurt. I wanted to be free from this mess. It wasn't easy, and I won't lie, I second-guessed myself a lot. Was I overreacting? Was there any way to save this? But every time I remembered that letter, those texts, the secret meetings, I knew I couldn't go back. I couldn't rebuild something broken so badly. I also reached out to my closest friends and told them everything. They were supportive, but I could tell some of them were surprised, especially Tom's wife, who's a good friend of ours. I didn't care about saving face or what anyone thought. I just wanted out. I wanted to start healing and moving on. The emotional pain was overwhelming at first, but gradually I found a little strength. I realized I had to accept that this was the end of my marriage, and it was okay to feel broken for a while. Sometimes, the only way forward is to let yourself grieve what you lost. I learned that betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches you who your real friends are and what you truly deserve. Now I'm in a different place. Not perfect, not completely healed, but better. I still think about what happened every day, but I also know I'll get through it. I learned that honesty is everything, and that sometimes you have to walk away from what hurts you most to find any kind of peace. If I could give any advice to someone in my shoes, it's this: don't ignore the signs. Trust your gut. And if someone betrays you like that, don't be afraid to walk away. You're better than that kind of pain. Looking back now, I realize that betrayal changes you in ways you never expected. I used to believe in forever, in the idea that love and loyalty should be unconditional. But life taught me that some people just aren't worth the sacrifice. Lisa's lies, her deception, it all showed me how fragile trust can be, and how easily it can shatter into a million pieces. I'll admit, part of me wanted to fight for us, to overlook her cheating and try to rebuild, but deep down, I knew that would only be prolonging my own pain. What's even more shocking is how raw and real the pain is after everything comes out. It's like being blindsided all over again every time I think about how I was played for a fool. Yet, through all that, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, that I don't need someone who doesn't truly value me. I learned that love isn't supposed to hurt this much, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away, even if it feels like you're losing everything. The thing with betrayal is it opens your eyes. It makes you see who really cares, who's truly loyal, and who's just pretending. I found out who my real friends are, those who stood by me and offered support without judgment. And I realized I don't need a lie to be happy. I need honesty, respect, and someone who genuinely cares. So here I am, still healing, still figuring out how to trust again. But I know now that I deserve better. I don't regret the pain or the heartbreak because they've made me more aware of what I want and what I refuse to accept. I hope this story helps someone else out there. If you're going through something like this, hold your head up, trust your instincts, and never settle for someone who treats your love like it's disposable, because in the end, you're worth so much more than betrayal and lies.